Good evening, everyone. Welcome members, officers, honorary older persons, and any members of the public viewing at home this evening's extraordinary council meeting. There is no drill planned this evening. You all know which way to go. If there's a fire sounds, please make your way out of the chambers through the fire escapes, down the staircase and leading to the lobby outside the chambers. The lifts are not working, so you don't have to worry about that. Please, can I ask you all to make sure that your telephones are switched off, please, or on silent? Thank you. Moving on, item number 1, apologies for absence. Ms. Willis, may I have the apologies, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've received apologies from Councillors Mary Glowett and Councillor Jacques Olmo, who are joining the meeting virtually. And I'm aware that some councillors may be caught up in some heavy traffic this evening, so maybe a bit late.
Okay. Are we okay to carry on, or did you want to? Oh, is it just okay? We'll fill them in. Okay. Oh.
Thank you, Mayor. Apologies from Councillor Helen Whitcroft.
Thank you. Oh, here we. Julie's here. Okay, moving on. Declaration of interest. Agenda item 2. Declaration of interest. Do any members have any disposable pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest to declare in relation to the matters which are being considered this meeting? Okay, moving on. Questions from members of the public. Agenda item 3. I'm advised that no questions have been received from members of the public under Council Procedures Rule 10. Is that right? Item number 4, local government reorganisation. Before I ask for members to move the motion on the item, I would like to ask the Chief Executive to introduce it. Mr. Stevens, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll keep this very brief because we are mindful of time. We have an hour for the Extraordinary Council this evening. The covering report, I hope, is self-explanatory, and there's very much an element of déjà vu because it doesn't feel that long ago we were debating the interim plan that was going to be submitted to government. A significant amount of work has gone into this final plan that you see in front of you, and I'm thankful to our district and borough colleagues for the work that has gone into the submission for a 3 unitary model. And that includes representatives from the Monitoring Officers Group, Section 151, Comms, and everyone else in between. For completeness, we have shared the County Council submission for a 2 unitary model, which is in Annex 3, and the expectation is that both proposals will be submitted to government by the deadline of this Friday. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. If you do have any questions you would like the officer to clarify during the debate, please raise your hand and point of clarification as well. This won't affect your right to speak on the motion in line with the usual procedures rules. I would like to ask the members to move the motion in respect of the... Sorry? Item. Oh, in respect of the item, sorry. I was going to say, which item? Sorry. Apologies. Councillor MacDonald?
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to propose the motion and reserve the right to speak.
Do you have a seconder?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to second and reserve the right to speak.
Thank you, Councillor MacDonald. Would you like to speak to your motion?
Thank you, Mayor. Today's meeting by the government. Falling as it does in the middle of the E-Day's commemorations, and I hope as many members and residents as possible will join the Mayor at 8:45 sharp on Thursday for the formal flag raising. It reminds us all of the political fragility, human cost and real importance of democracy. It is therefore highly regrettable, whilst others exercised their right to vote nationally last week, Surrey's was cancelled by the leader of a failing Conservative-led Surrey County Council. Failing residents on highways, maintenance and road safety issues. Failing council taxpayers by not addressing its £1 billion plus borrowing addiction. Failing to balance its books without 66 million in-year cuts. And failing our children, again, again and again, with support for their SEND challenges, placing them years behind peers and blighting their future life chances. This May, Surrey Conservatives went totally AWOL, failing to turn up on the domestic parade ground on time and be inspected by council taxpayers to account for themselves and their service record. Looking at the national and regional picture, it is not difficult to work out why. If the leader of Surrey County Council and his Conservative friends cannot be trusted today, then why should we trust them tomorrow? Their preferred 2 unitary proposal specifically places disproportionate council tax raising wealth in the east, whilst asking us in the west to carry all the high-risk debts outside Wokings, assumed written off nationally, and support much higher levels of resident service demands due to differences in average deprivation levels. And guess which proposed current borough and proposed unitary the leader of Surrey County Council resides in? I will give you a 50-50 clue. Both begin with E. The whole proposal comes straight from the Conservative fancy finance playbook, which we are so familiar with here in Surrey Heath, which ruined our financial future. Support of the Surrey County Council preferred proposal by local Surrey Heath Conservatives would be an absolute, unequivocal betrayal of their residents. Surrey County Council's proposal, comparing 2 or 3 unitaries, is riddled with a bias to continue with the failed status quo, and with Surrey Heath residents at the bottom of the priority list. One simple example shows how Surrey County Council thinks. When assuming the breakup of 2 or 3 unitaries, the top 3 management levels are assumed in the same number per unitary on exactly the same pay scales as today, despite the responsibilities for residents, staff, assets and finances being halved or thirded. Surrey Heath residents deserve a breaking of this cycle of failure, and rather than replicate a failed organisation, they want to build up from the best of what we have locally, based on clusters of responsive district and boroughs, assuming the responsibilities of the reactive upper tier council. The district and borough proposal thinks bottom up, from the residents' perspective, placing their local needs first. Despite the crazy timeline for this process, we proactively encourage all residents and local civic society stakeholders to engage in the decision-making process, rather than ignoring them as Surrey County Council dismissively did. 63% of the 3,300 residents that responded stated a clear preference for 3 unitaries, a ratio of 3.7 to 1 versus the 2 unitary option at 17%. Residents stated 2 main reasons for their decision to back 3 unitaries, with over twice as much support as any other choice. They were understanding of local issues with local decision-making. The local theme is the core of the district and borough's 3 unitary proposal. It emphasises, for example, smaller geographies built up of 3 or 4 existing boroughs or districts with similar look and feel, as well as challenges and opportunities. 3 councillors per unitary ward rather than the 2 proposed by Surrey County Council, to ensure councillors know their areas really well, can come from all walks of life to support their communities alongside other responsibilities and are able to pick up residents' casework effectively. More alignment with other public services like health, public transport, police and education, and indeed existing adult and children's services area teams, to ensure pathways are seamless and residents get the support locally they need and deserve. Alignment with the core economic zones, growth zones within Surrey and beyond, for example, across the Blackwater Valley. The residents have spoken through the engagement survey, and it is down to members to listen and act accordingly in their votes tonight. Despite the financial carnage inherited from local Conservatives through huge unviable retail property investments of 113 million, including the 19 million purchase of the House of Fraser in secret by their lead members to avoid council working group or committee scrutiny, and the tanking of the British economy by the National Conservatives, leaving the council, and especially hard-working Surrey Heath residents, with a huge truss interest rate tariff to fund on borrowing. We now know where we are financially, and having asked tough questions, published years of missing accounts, and started proper external auditing again. It's not pretty, however, we are tidying up the mess, as we can be both trusted with finances and transparent in decision-making. In that context, it is important that residents and members in their decision-making understand the financial implications of 3 versus 2 unitary authorities, so they can balance the value of real local democracy versus its cost. The district and borough analysis demonstrates a cumulative delta of 112 million over the full analysis period, or £244 per household in Surrey on average. For the 5 years of unitary council operation analysed, this equates to £45 per year per household. So keeping local government local in Surrey for the benefit of Surrey Heath residents in our local communities is forecast to cost less than £1 per week per household, about the price of a packet of polos. Many residents will be concerned about the impact of council tax harmonisation at a time when household budgets remain stretched to the limit, the national economy fragile, and the global one chaotic, awaiting Trump's latest social media posting. The analysis provided by officers, independent of which proposal, shows Surrey Heath residents would be beneficiaries from the council tax harmonisation in year one alone, with an approximately 1% lower increase than the national 4.99% cap in place. Residents should also be aware that as part of the National Labour Government's Fair Funding Review, Surrey overall is expected, in all scenarios, to lose 40 million a year, which is envisaged to be shared across any resultant unitary authorities and place further pressure on service budgets. Let's not forget the local government reorganisation process and rules are being directed to us, and engaging constructively, the focus is on trying to make the best of the options available for Surrey Heath residents. Members, I want to thank all the officers involved at Surrey Heath for their work in supporting the development of both proposals, ensuring it is evidence-based to support our decision-making, and for keeping yourselves and residents properly informed, particularly Joe Whitfield, Sarah Bainbridge, Vicky Radford, and Nick Stevens, plus all the other unnamed Trojans involved in this massive effort. The cross-Surrey effort behind the scenes by all district and borough teams has also pointed a positive pathway forward to future collaboration. Members, I ask you to reject a failing Surrey County Council's top-down mega 2 unitary proposal that would place at risk our finances and services, and back our residents' choice with the bottom-up, locally focused 3 unitary proposal from the districts and boroughs, seeing Surrey Heath merging with near neighbours in Woking, Waverley and Guildford, who have similar issues to us as they work, live, study and play, as well as a shared commitment to preserve our treasured landscape and environment. Members, let's keep local government local, in Surrey and in Surrey Heath, always focused on our residents first. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor MacDonald. And we do echo this as well, that Mr. Stevens and his team have worked very hard and still doing a very hard job as well. So we'd like to say thank you to them. So on behalf of everyone, I'd like to say thank you. Moving on, thank you. So Councillor Rice, would you like to speak on the motion? No? I would like to invite members to discuss the motion and make any comments. So, Councillor Green. Sorry, Councillor Green.
Thank you, Mayor. Colleagues, we're here tonight to discuss, I think, one of the most consequential decisions that this council has ever faced, and that's how we shape the future of local government in Surrey. And in doing so, it's important that we protect the interests of people in Surrey Heath. The motion before us asks us to support the final local government reorganisation plan that's developed by the district and borough councils, expressing a clear preference for a 3 unitary model. And on this point, let me be absolutely clear, I fully agree. 3 unitaries offers the best balance. The proposed groupings reflect the lived geography of Surrey. They maintain local accountability, and they pair Surrey Heath with the communities that we already collaborate with, Woking, Guildford and Waverley, where there are natural ties, shared infrastructure and joint service challenges that we already face together. This model brings services closer to residents, supports our local identity and remains financially sustainable, with savings estimated at 40 million a year. Critically, it's also the model that residents prefer. In the public engagement, 63% supported the 3 unitary option, only 17% backed 2. And I think that kind of margin would be very difficult for councillors to ignore. But where I slightly disagree with this motion is on point 2, which calls on us to reject the 2 unitary model outright. I believe we don't need to express an opinion on that model here. We can simply have point I that says we support the 3 unitaries, and we don't need to say what we don't need to express an opinion on 2, because we should just be focusing on our positive case to have 3 unitaries across Surrey, and that being the clear preference that Surrey Heath supports. So on that note, I want to propose an amendment. So the amendment is to delete point 2 from the suggested motion, and to delete the semicolon and the and at the end of point one and instead put a full stop at the end of the word model. So I hope everyone's seen that. I have circulated that around, so apologies for the short notice. And I hope Councillor Rowlands will second that too. Thank you.
Do you have a seconder?
Please to second.
Thank you. Just bear with us a second. Okay, now we're going to debate the amendment. Would you like to put, anybody who wants to start? Sir Cliff?
Thank you, Mayor. I would oppose your motion, respectfully. I understand why you've put it. Concentrate on the positive. But I've had experience in this council of dealing with government bodies, planning, inspectors, where because you didn't say you didn't want something, they assume you're okay with it. And if that is the case with the two-state solution, to borrow a phrase, we may well fall flat on our faces. We want 3 groupings. We're quite clear on that, aren't we? But unless we say we definitely don't want 2, it's possible that some government minister sitting in his office will look at that and say, well, yes, they're 3, 2, 3. Well, they didn't say they didn't want 2. We'll give them that anyway, because that's what county wants. So I would oppose dropping the 2-state solution. Yeah, adding the, yeah, you know what I mean. Go for 3, don't want 2, and leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir Cope?
Thank you, Mayor, for that promotion. I don't think it'll come as a surprise to anyone, given what I said at the last meeting, that I do prefer the 2 model over the 3 model. Perfectly respect that I'm in the minority in this room, but I do think this amendment is worthwhile. And the main reason I would say that is I don't think this council can afford to be dismissive of a 2 unitary model. Now, the leader said many interesting things about why he prefers 3 over 2 and how awful the Conservatives are, etc., etc. But at the moment, it does feel to me like he's appealing for LBW and pitching the ball outside leg stump, because we know that the government's criteria includes at the very least, advisory position that all unitary councils should have a minimum of 500,000 residents. Now, the government minister has said that that might be an average, but given that some unitaries are down at 200,000, such as Leicester, it seems unlikely to me that Surrey is going to be allowed to go underneath that number by a significant margin. A 3 unitary model would see a third unitary of around 300,000 people. I just don't see that the government is going to accept this. And therefore, I think you're in really dangerous territory if you just go full steam ahead, we want 3, we want 3. It's very likely the government's going to turn around and impose 2. That is the way of the world. I know the Labour government changes its mind a lot, but I don't think it's going to change its mind on this. So I am just a little bit nervous, putting all the politics aside, of this council steaming full steam ahead on a proposition that seems unlikely to be accepted and not working in a collaborative way towards where I think we're going to end up, which is a 2 unitary model. And I think deleting this wording would help show that the council is at least open to working towards that end goal, given it's where we're likely to end up.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. I think if we're taking Councillor Betton's logic to its natural conclusion, we probably also want to be ruling out one local authority as well, which, as we know, is the ultimate Conservative desire. So I think for me, I think if we're going to rule out, if we're going to be ruling out two, we probably want to explore also ruling out one as well, because we want to be clear we don't want to be one.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? Okay. Hold on. Okay, is it hand up or down? Yeah. Okay.
This is not about the amendment, right? It's about the motion rather than the amendment from Councillor
It's the
Quinn?
amendment.
Oh, okay.
We're discussing the amendment.
So that concludes the debate because no one else is talking.
Okay, so Councillor MacDonald, would you like the exercise your right to reply?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Right, thank you. If there's no more discussion, which we obviously now, I would now like to move to the vote on the amendment. So we're voting on the amendment. So is it going to be? Okay, so if you'd like to put your hands up for the amendment.
No, that's for a show of hands. So those in...
Pardon?
No, that's for a show of hands. So those in favour.
Okay. Right, so all those in favour, please? For the amendment. We're voting for the amendment.
This is discounting the second part. This is discounting the second part. You've got it in front of you, the recommendation.
Just to clarify, Madam Mayor, we're voting on the amendment, which is the deletion of the red points. Thank you.
Right. Just clarifying this, we are voting for the amendments. Please put your hands up and keep them up because we're counting. Shashi, is that hand up or down? Oh, thank you. Those against, thank you. Well, you can put your hands up. Those against, please. Thank you. Oh, any abstentions? No. I think I've done the maths, yeah. Looking at you. Right, I have got the results now. So it's 23 in favour and 8 against. No abstention. So I take it the amendment's carried. Yeah. Thank you. Is that it?
That concludes the business.
Okay, well, that concludes the business. No? It doesn't?
Oh, apologies. My fault.
Oh, I was a bit shocked as well, but sorry, Nick, it's been a long day, I know.
Apologies, Mayor. I take full responsibility for that. That was my error.
We're just checking that you're all awake or not. Okay, moving on. Back to square one, is it? Yes. You all know where we're going now? Now we're going to take a vote. Okay, so now we're going to the original motion, is that right? Oh, amended motion, which is, yeah, okay. Right, so we're voting? Gosh, let's hope I don't have to do this every day. Right, now I know what we're doing now. We're debating on that now. See, I've got it now. Right, Councillor MacDonald, would you like to say something? Or everybody else is going to debate on it? You're fine. Right, put your hands up if you want to debate on that, please. And keep your hands up until we write it down. Right, we've got Ying. Councillor, oh, whoa, just a minute, we're just counting. Councillor Wilson. Anyone else? I do like to make these meetings very interesting as much as I can. Councillor B. Sir Cliff. Anybody else? No? Right, okay. Councillor Parrott, would you like to speak?
The voice of our residents has always been that they want councillors who live in the area and who know them and understand them and even understand the problems or issues that they're facing. Having councillors who are not in the area proves a problem, an added layer that would bring them apart from what they feel that it should be done. And as councillors, I'd like to say that we're here for the people and not to make things convenient, because we are there to help them. They're the ones that feel the inconvenience. They want us, and I don't know how, as I said, politics aside, councillors, Councillor Cook said that, and that is what people want. Are we not listening to them, or are we just listening to our own voices? Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor. LGR, local government removal, is being rushed through by the government. The public clearly value having access and input to their local council, as Councillor Perrott just said. There are some benefits from combining council tiers into unitaries, but moving them further from residents risks disconnecting them from their core purpose and making them out of touch. The results of the large public engagement exercise show the public's clear demand for the option which has councils closer to them. That's 3 new unitary authorities in Surrey. Over 3,300 people took part and expressed their views. This is a huge number in a very short time for this subject. When I hear Conservatives cast doubt on this engagement exercise, I wonder if it is a form of advanced satire. It was the Surrey County Conservatives that put Surrey on the fastest of fast tracks to LGR. It was they who got the county council elections cancelled, where the entire population of Surrey could have expressed their views on this last week. We can see from the results across England why Surrey Conservatives cannot risk facing the electorate. After Liz Truss crashed the economy, no one will trust them with power again. In Surrey, their record on public services is abysmal. They closed the Swift Lane tip, turned special educational needs provision into a chaotic, cruel mess, and allowed raw sewage to be dumped in our rivers. The reason why Surrey is racing headlong into local government reorganisation at a pace which is clearly not safe is that the Conservatives begged the government to save them from the electorate. There is no workable solution for council debts in Surrey, and only a half-formed plan for community governance involving community boards instead of parish councils. This change involves dismantling and rebuilding all of the public services provided by councils in Surrey. It cannot be done safely in this timescale. The government should reinstate the Surrey County Council elections ASAP, which would allow genuine public involvement in this process. It should use the time to resolve the debt issue and find a community governance solution to fill the democratic vacuum that new unitary authorities will leave. In the absence of this option, I will be supporting the motion and backing the clear majority of our residents on this issue. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor Betton?
Thank you. I would just like to ask a question or two. In the government's documentation about this process, it states that local views will be taken into account. We've been supplied with two different versions. There's a version of the future from the boroughs working together, and there's a version of the future from County Council. When it comes to weight of evidence, before the government minister that is going to make the decision on what happens, do we know how much weight is going to be apportioned to the views of the boroughs in comparison to the views of county? And the second question I would have is, how many of the boroughs are supportive of the three groupings as opposed to county, which appears to be favouring two? If you could further me with that information, I'd be most grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. I think, are we... I'm just going to ask Mr. Stevens to answer that for you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Betton. So in terms of weight and how much weight would be applied to the district and borough submissions and our preference in comparison to the county, at this point in time, I don't know. The government has set out that during the summer it will do consultation, and having been probed on that, it transpires that consultation doesn't involve consultation with residents directly, it involves consultation with stakeholders. So business groups, potentially parishes, other community organisations and other key stakeholders within Surrey, I suppose frustratingly not residents directly. So at this stage, I can't give you an answer on weight, I'm afraid, Councillor Betton. We don't know, but they'll obviously take into account both submissions and other factors and then make a decision on that basis. The second part of your question in relation to a preference for the districts and boroughs, that's not immediately apparent yet. Whilst we understand there were districts and boroughs that expressed a preference on the interim plans, and I don't think those numbers have significantly changed. All of us are going through a similar process as we are this evening in terms of considering that final submission and coming forward with a recommendation. But I believe that of the 11, there are at least 8 who have expressed a preference for 2 and will probably continue to do so. Sorry, for 3 and will probably continue to do so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Mr. Garrett?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I hadn't planned on speaking tonight because I think I pretty much made my thoughts clear at the last time we discussed this. But one thing probably the only thing I will agree with the leader on tonight is thanking Mr. Stevens and all the officers throughout the council for the time and effort they've put into this paper. A lot of pages and a lot of work, so thank you to you all. I've actually only got one other point this evening. Much has been made this evening about the stakeholder resident engagement. 3,300 residents in the whole of Surrey, 1.2 million people. So that's 0.27% of the whole of Surrey have completed this consultation, and we're basing 63% of them wanting to join 3 unitaries. So I get it, it's statistics, it's 63% of that taking, but actually it's only 0.27% of Surrey. So is it really a true representation? That's what it's a representation of the figures we have before us, but is that truly a true representation of Surrey? That's all I have to say tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I really like that phrase. I wasn't going to say anything, but I am now. Mr. Whitcroft, over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to, if I might, deal with some of the practicalities of the issues before us this evening. And the key practicality in terms of the two options which are before us is that the county unitary option tacks on the boroughs of Runnymede and Spelthorne to the districts and boroughs West Surrey unitary, which of course includes Surrey Heath, Guildford, Waverley and Woking. And at this point, it's very important to emphasise the comment made in the excellent papers, which is that irrespective of which option is selected by the government, ultimately, they are required, in quotes, by both districts and boroughs and the county council to address the damning problem of Woking's stranded debt. Because it's very clear that any new authority saddled with that degree of debt is doomed from the start. So that is a matter which the Labour government does have to sort out in order to satisfy every single, I would suggest, politician and resident in Surrey. I just want to go back to 1974, if I might. I'm going to anyway. In 1974, the North West Surrey parliamentary constituency was formed. And what that consisted of was the borough of Surrey Heath, together with the western part of Runnymede. It was such a success that it was dissolved in 1977. And 1997. Due to the lack of commonality between the areas, of which more in a moment. Recreating this arrangement in 2025 and adding, just to compound the felony, East Runnymede and Spelthorne would be to make exactly the same mistake again. You're allowed to make a mistake once, but you're not allowed to make a mistake twice. Not one of this magnitude in any case. So to do that would be unforgivable in my view. Spelthorne, with its concerns about London, the M25, Heathrow, has so little in common with Surrey Heath, fine place though it is, that it's difficult to find any commonality. So the County Council's proposed unitary authority would span a vast distance, making it impractical for effective governments. Just to illustrate that, it takes over an hour to travel between Laleham in Spelthorne and Hazelmere in Waverley. Incidentally and interestingly, it takes about the same time to travel between Camberley here in Surrey Heath and Oxted, which some of you will not know, is in the borough of Tandridge on the far side of Surrey. So if it's a good idea to alter a situation where two such places are so widely apart as exists now with the County of Surrey, why replace it with a system which does exactly the same thing? It just doesn't make any sense at all. Constituency engagement is another matter which is extremely important, and it's self-evident that the larger an authority, the more difficult it is for that authority to stay engaged with its residents. The government has unfortunately not clarified the future role of parish and town councils, despite repeated requests to do so. So we don't know what role they're going to be able to play. But it's an absolute certainty that efforts to keep in touch with residents in a large unitary authority are going to be very, very challenging. And it's to be hoped that those efforts don't go the same way as Surrey County Council's area committees. I expect most people in this room will remember the area committees. But rather than seeking to improve their operation, the County Council simply scrapped them and abandoned really any attempt at community engagement. I'm going to disagree briefly, if I might, with some of my colleagues over the question of consultation, because I personally think the exercise undertaken to date is very sketchy. The government has not allowed, simply, enough time for us as local authorities to do the consultation job properly. But having said that, significantly, 63% is a large number. It's worth pointing out that it's a larger number than the 52% who voted for Brexit. But we won't dwell on that, we'll move on very quickly. The key to this, however, is how people feel about themselves and about the situation. And I would suggest to you that, if asked, people in Surrey Heath would favour joining with Guildford, Woking and Waverley. But I think if you asked them if they wanted to join with Runnymede and Spelthorne at the same time, and there is a practical situation there because, as we know, Runnymede and Spelthorne are separated by a variety of golf courses and garden centres and very little else down the run of the A30. So very few people, I would suggest to you, in Surrey Heath would see much commonality, if any, with Runnymede and Spelthorne. The financial issues have been touched upon, and there's no doubt
Sorry to interrupt, Councillor Whitcroft. We are running a bit over time here.
Okay.
Have you got, is it quite a long, lengthy one, or just a couple of sentences?
It's half a sentence, in fact. Okay. But I'll have to start it again.
It's a whole sentence now.
Please do.
Yeah. Financially, while the two unitary option offers savings, the democratic and logistic benefits of three councils outweigh these savings, as both the papers presented to us tonight and the arguments which I've just laid out illustrate very clearly. This council should therefore clearly support the three unitary proposal over Surrey County Council's two unitary proposal. I thank you for your indulgence, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I do apologise for interrupting you, but however, the time is ticking and I know the executives are waiting to discuss it after the meeting. Moving on. Anybody else? Councillor Lee, you've got 2 minutes.
I'll do my best, Mayor. Looking through the proposals, the first thing that sort of really leaps out are some pretty maps. And I think we had a bit of an interesting debate from the Conservatives talking about Woking's debt and us being saddled with it. At the last meeting, we discussed it. What's really interesting here with the County Council proposals is every single one of the two unitary models puts Surrey Heath Borough Council with Woking. I won't mention the book from last time because that was slightly controversial, but you know where I'm coming from on that one. Looking at 2.3 and 2.4, when we look at geography and picking up Councillor Whitcroft's point, you've got in 2.3 and 2.4 both Tandridge, far in the east, as far east as you can go, is with Waverley as far as you can possibly go in the west. How can Waverley and Tandridge land in the same local authority when they're the two furthest points apart in Surrey County Council? I mean, how could that have even got to a draft? What were they thinking? They've spent millions on this behind the scenes with sort of secret consultants and stuff, and this is what the money's come up with? It doesn't make sense. If we turn to the budget for a minute, so Surrey County Council's 25-26 net revenue budget for adult social care is going to be 63% of the budget. We're expected to find cost savings from this. There seems to be two types of cost savings or scenarios that they tend to lead on. There's what's called the base scenario. So I don't know if anyone's ever worked in sales, but you get targets that you can achieve, right? And then you get stretch targets. They're there to stretch you. You know you're never going to get your full bonus when you're working in sales. It's not going to happen. It's to try and drive you forward. So in the base scenario, they think we'll save £1 million on a turnover of about £1.4 billion. That, as any accountant in the room will tell you, is not even a margin of error in accounts at that level of turnover. Now, in the stretch scenario, so this is the one where you get your bonus, but you only get part of it. You never get 100%. I've never met anyone who's met 100% of their sales target. They might get up to £46 million. On a budget of nearly £1.5 billion, that's still tinkering around the edges. The cost saving just does not stack up. It's fantasy. And I think if we look back to the trust budget, and sorry to mention trust, I think I'm the third one this evening, this is trustonomics. These cost savings are literally trustonomics. I don't believe they will be achievable.
Thank you, Councillor Lee. Anybody else? Can I conclude this debate? It's concluded. Right, Councillor MacDonald, would you like to speak?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. So just to clarify, I'm summing up the debate. Yeah. I often muse, what did we do before local government reorganisation? What did we do with our evenings? Couple of things maybe to touch on. Firstly, I'm sure the AI bots will be relieved that we've got through this stage of the process, as I know they've been working overload from some of the feedback I've received from members in comparing and contrasting the various proposals. Let's not forget that we're here because our elections were cancelled and we were put on the fast track programme. I want to remind the residents and members that there's no legal binding commitment that those elections will happen next year, and we could be left in limbo for quite a period of time. I personally find that extremely difficult, given the sacrifices that people have made to protect our democracy over the years. With respect to Councillor Cope's comment around the size of the unitaries, I understand his point. It is one of the principles that have been put down. A number of ministers have made comments in a number of public forums that they will be looking at the uniqueness of different geographies, and they're prepared to accept smaller numbers than the 500,000. I think it's important also to note that in the analysis that's been provided by officers, data-driven, evidence-led analysis, and I think that's one of the strengths actually of the D&B proposal, is every number has been gone through in detail, not least by Mrs. Radford and the 151s, is that the population in Surrey will increase by 200,000 by 2040, using the assumptions from the planning perspective and the census projections as well. So that does mean a number of, I think two of the three will pretty much get to the number required. And as my colleague Councillor Whitcroft has mentioned, that there are some specifics around the nearer London boroughs, particularly there being inside the M25 and being adjacent to the Thames, that give them some unique characteristics. In answer to Councillor Lee's point, I think we are all firmly of the view, and if anybody objects to this, then please make your views known in public, that we all are of the view that one unitary is clearly the wrong way to go. It's too remote, it's too mega, and it just won't work for our residents locally and our local communities. There have been some comments about the about the residents' engagement survey. And so conscious that my maths may be challenged, and also conscious I'm more of a pure mathematician than a statistician, I asked our member who used to be a maths teacher to look into this for me. And actually the statistically valid sample size for a population of 1.2 million is 385. So we have substantially more than that in the survey. We have a good spread across all of the boroughs. In fact, it's interesting to note that the two that are most in favour of two seem to have not really promoted it in the same way as others, which is a shame because their residents' voices haven't been heard to the same degree. But we do have a good spread, and obviously it's random, so therefore it's statistically valid. I accept Councillor Whitcroft's point around we would have loved to have had more time. I think the office has done a great job in just getting what we can, both from stakeholders and residents in the time available. I talked last time that we were here about what local meant to me. I won't go over that again. We are a collection in this area of Surrey of market towns, medium size. Okay, Guildford's maybe a little bit bigger, Woking's maybe a bit more of a commuter town, but we're not talking about massive conurbations. And we're also a collection of some very, very pretty villages, of which obviously we have a number represented here by members. But that also goes to our surrounding potential partners in Waverley and Guildford. My view is that we want our local residents, if they have an issue with their council, their unitary council, to potentially be able to go to that council venue and to make their voices heard. And I think a rule of thumb should be that 80% of them should be able to get there within 30 minutes, either driving or public transport. And I think this solution that's being proposed does that, not just for Surrey Heath, but it does it for the other unitaries as well. There's been a lot of talk about Spelthorne. I'd just like to say that I don't think this council or any members have an issue with the residents of Spelthorne. They have different challenges. It is interesting how they seem to have surpassed Woking now as potentially the partner of least choice. But they do have significant challenges, and they are probably best served by those adjacent to them as part of a cluster. So to wrap up, this is a proposal that's evidence-based. This is a proposal that is fact-driven. This is a proposal to keep local government as local as possible in Surrey Heath, and I commend it to members.
Thank you. Now I'm going to get Mr. Stevens to clarify what you are going to be voting for now, just in case. Oh, okay. Before we...
Not after he's spoken, I don't think. Not after Sean's spoken, I don't think.
We're going to the vote now.
I wasn't wanting to speak on the motion, but simply to request a name vote.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Before we do that, I'm just going to get Nick Stevens to explain what we're going to be voting for, and then we'll...
Thank you, Mayor. Just to confirm, we're going to move to the vote on the amended motion, which is now the substantive motion.
That's clear, yeah? Okay, so Julie, we need 2 more councillors. Oh, okay. Just 2. Thank you. I think we've got about 5. We're going to go for the named vote now. Natalie will read out your name, and you will need to indicate whether you're voting favour, against, or abstain. So, over to you.
Alan Ashbury. For. Louise Ashbury.
For.
Cliff Betton.
For.
Johnny Cope.
Against.
Kel Finnan-Cook.
For.
Lisa Finnan-Cook.
For.
Sean Garrett.
Against.
Mark Gordon.
4.
Julie Howd.
4.
Dave Hoff.
4.
Nirmal Kang.
4.
Sabi Kang.
4.
Rob Lee.
4.
Sean MacDonald.
4.
Leanne McIntyre.
4.
Sashi Milvaganam.
Against.
Liz Noble.
4.
David O'Mahony.
4.
Jonathan Quinn.
4.
Rob Rakes.
4.
Mary Rowlands.
4.
Morgan Rise.
4.
John Skipper.
4.
Pat Tedder. Josh Thorne.
Against.
Kevin Thompson.
4.
Ying Tong Perrett.
4.
Victoria Wheeler.
4.
David Whitcroft.
4.
Valerie White.
Against.
Richard Wilson.
4.
Twenty-six. 2, 4, 5, yeah.
Okay, I have the results. We have 26 for, 5 against, nobody abstained. So therefore, I declare the vote carried. Thank you very much. Close the meeting. That concludes the business of meeting, and I would like to thank everyone this evening for attending. Now, can I ask Nick to advise when the exec meeting will start, please?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. We are on schedule to start at 8:15. Thank you.
Thank you very much and enjoy your evening.